Welcome back to Unperfect with Alexi. This is the perfect place for unperfect people. And today I'm introducing you to my sister, Alessandra. Just kidding. Her real name is Ali. It's just A-L-I.
My sister, Alessandra.
I feel like Ali was just too short of a name.
Well, did mom tell you why she chose Allie?
No.
She was like, it's Alan and Leisha put together.
That's what she said about my name too, but I'm like, where the fuck does the X come in?
No.
Is that because they got divorced?
Yeah.
Was I
They were like
a prophetic child?
They're the one we didn't want.
Okay, my original name in the hospital was Elise. This is as the story goes.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is more Alan and Lisa than Alexi.
Yeah, I mean, you know our mother.
We love you, mother.
We love our mom.
We love our mom.
I mean, I love being just ALI, very simple to remember, but I always get the, what is it short for? And it's like, nothing. I'm the original. Like, I'm not one of these, like, it's Allison. It's like, no, it's just Allie.
It's just Ali. That's why I have to add Alessandra or Alison. Or
Allison.
something.
One of my sweet old lady coworkers, she called me Al. And I'm like, isn't my name short enough?
No. I'm going to start calling you A.
Yeah. Come here.
What if we just don't call you anything?
Oh, well, I mean.
What if we're just like.
I prefer people don't perceive me, so.
What does that mean?
Not want to be perceived?
Yeah.
It's just easier.
What does that mean, though?
It's just like you can just exist without like feeling people's eyes on you. Because like, I'm sure you've had that thought, or maybe this is just an anxious person's thought. It's like, everyone's looking at me, even if they're not. Mm-hmm. So like, the goal is to like, you don't want to be perceived.
Sounds like you're a narcissist if you're in this world.
What's that narcissistic? That's the difference. Narcissists like, everybody perceive me.
Everybody's looking at me.
And no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking
Well,
with
especially when you're like wide. Like I had my HR be like, it's okay to take up space. And I was like, because I'm like, especially like as a bigger person too, you have a hard time, like you're like, you try to make it as small as possible so you don't bump into people, you know?
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about you being fat.
No, I don't. You said that, not me.
Black's really slim.
Oh, okay. So is that something that you heard in your childhood?
Yeah. The black is slimming. No,
that's why I'm wearing black.
That's why I turned goth, Mom, because black is slimming.
Yeah, I got my trip pants.
Yeah, the trip pants make me real slim. Dude, so you know those trip capris that I had? They like ended at my knee and they had the big hanging chains. Those would always get stuck in my chair at school, so I'd stand up and take the chair with me.
You're like a mix between Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, honestly though, I think if you're okay talking about it, because I know you're okay with joking about it, and you're like, you make fat jokes about yourself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use the term fat for you.
Yeah, it's fluffy.
It's fluffy.
As Gabriel Iglesias would say, I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
But what your experience in the world, how can you tell us a little about it? Like, I just want the people listening right now to understand what your perspective of life is.
As a chunky person?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's like, I am just as a person in general, I don't care what you do as long as you're not hurting other people. And that goes for people who are being fat too. Like, or, you know, not everyone is being fat. Some people have like actual medical conditions or like mental health issues where eating was like a reward, stuff like that. But the hard thing in like this society is you can't just exist being yourself even if you're not hurting anyone, because everyone has something to say about you, like how unhealthy you are because you're fat. And it's like, well, you don't need to know that I got a job in a warehouse and I'm currently like walking to get my stamina up and I'm not like wheezing all the time. But it's like you're not my family. Where do you get off giving me advice? Like, especially advice I didn't ask for. People are like so rude, you know?
So you get unsolicited advice a lot about it?
Well, not as much anymore because I avoid people, but I mean,
like, this is why I don't talk to my family. This is why I recluse and retreat inside of my own little world.
Yeah, that's why I stay home with my chihuahuas and we watch TV together. Yeah.
Well, I think it's cool that you got that job.
I know, I'm excited because I mean, even being on your feet more, it's like I can be healthy in my own small steps and people don't need to worry about it, you know? And also, that being said, some of the best inventions have been like at like fat people stuff though. Like in Torrid, having fans in the fitting room. It doesn't even matter if you're fat. A skinny person wants that. I get so hot changing clothes and like Torrid's like, here you go, queen. Here's a fan in the fitting room. And it's like, why can't all places have that? Like,
yeah, it's like they celebrate.
Yeah.
They celebrate you for just existing, like for being a human, instead of trying to shame you and be like, oh, you should look different because for some reason looking at you makes me uncomfortable. Right. I don't experience the same. I feel like we can find some common ground because people do that with my acne though. They look at my acne and think, oh, this is like, you need to immediately get rid of it. Yeah. And people probably look at you and think the same thing. Like,
it's offensive to them, even though that's not their experience.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the thing. It's like, I try my best never to judge people and stuff like they have no control over. I mean, obviously your brain always has those like little insidious thoughts, you know, but there's a difference in between thinking something and then saying it. Yeah. And that's a problem a lot of people these days have, where they like never learned if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Yeah. Like on the internet, they're just like talking to strangers like apropos of nothing. It's like, nobody cares about your thoughts on another person, especially if you're being vile about it.
Yeah, like, no kidding. Like, nobody specifically requested your feedback.
Yeah. And it's like, and they're like, well, if you put yourself out there, you should expect. And it's like, no, you just have a lot of unchecked aggression, ma'am or miss, and need like an excuse to be mean to people, but are too afraid to do it in real life.
Literally. It's like the keyboard warriors. These people would never say anything in person. Look at the squirrel.
I know. They're eating the pita chips your kid
Oh, they're so cute.
You're going to have to clean the grill next time to O'Reilly's squirrel.
Oh, wait, there's two on there.
Yeah. There's one below and one above.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love squirrels.
Dog behavior squirrel.
Literally.
Golden retriever behavior.
Do you feel like you have ADHD?
I think, I don't know. Because
I do.
Because I thought ADHD was the one where you had to like, you lose your focus. My issue is I get so focused and sucked into something that I ignore the world around me. Like, I can't tell you how many times like AJ has been talking to me. And then he was like, did you hear anything I just said? And I was like, no, because I was reading.
Yeah. Hold on.
We got children.
Hold on. Allie, tell them a fun story
about me.
Tell
them a fun story about you. Okay. When she was younger, we had some mutual friends. I think Jean has been on this podcast. So she was one of the mutual friends and our neighbors. And I was friends with her older brother, Zach. So me and Zach decided to build this really cool like tree fort in a tree. Yeah, a tree fort in the tree. And we dragged pallets. We had like a pulley system so we could bring stuff up to our pallets in the tree. We nailed it to the tree. We made seats. Her and Jean were so jealous of it. They spread dog shit all over our tree house. And like, because I think it was because we didn't let them play in it or something, because we were the older kids and we're like, no, fuck you. But
little do you know that was actually our shit.
Ew. Seriously?
Yeah.
That's worse.
I know. We were fun.
Is that fun? Actually,
I just have like no qualms about my gastric system. Like,
well, I mean, I shit for 30 minutes in the morning. Since we had to turn that one toilet off that was leaking while we fixed it, I've been having to use the toilet without the Tshi, and I miss having the Tshi bidet so much because I just like to power blast my ass clean.
Okay, but the bidets, they help so much.
You waste so much less toilet paper because really you're only using the toilet paper to get your ass on damp, really. Yeah. But like, they're so useful, and like Tshis are so cheap because you don't even have to buy a whole bidet. You just put it under the seat. That's what we have. I can't afford a whole ass bidet.
I need a Tshi.
Yeah.
Tshi, if you hear this.
Sponsored by Tshi. Not really.
Oh, now I gotta go wipe my son's butt.
Speaking of poop. Hopefully not on a pallet this time. Okay, another Lexi story. God, she was such a brat. One time when I was younger, I really liked to play Spyro the Dragon on my PS2. So I'd be in my room, and down the hallway, I would just hear the Titanic. You're here, there's nothing I fear. Over and over again while I was playing Spyro the Dragon. So now 2 songs when I play Spyro are associated. It's My Heart Will Go On, and then it's Toxic by Britney Spears, because for some reason that's all you two would play, and I was playing Spyro alone in the room, and you and Jean were doing that.
I had an obsession with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, I remember I got you that Titanic, like from the Value Village. It was like a Titanic Leonardo DiCaprio book or something.
Oh, love. I saw Titanic for the first time at one of our family friends' campground, and I was just immediately like, oh, this guy is the hottest man I've ever seen in my entire life.
Me with Gerard Butler in 300.
Yeah, no. I have a thing for like the blondish, like dirty blonde, lighter.
So that's why you married Riley, you know, the brown-haired man.
Yeah, but remember I used to have a Kurt Cobain fetish too, and a Lane Staley fetish, and they're both blonde.
That's true, yeah.
And it's something about like the tall and skinny, but Leonardo DiCaprio was my first ever infatuation where I was like, I've never had a crush like this. And I went full blown, like researched everything there was to know about him. I went into this like ADHD spiral, watched Titanic, bought the fucking soundtrack to Titanic.
And this is back when Titanic was 2 VHSs that you had to put like together,
You had to rewind them.
Yeah.
Rewind the 3-hour long movie. And I was like, oh, why can't I be, not realizing that when the time.
Why can't I be Rose?
Why can't I be Rose?
Did you know recently they retested if he could be on the door or not? Like
and he couldn't.
No, he could.
What?
They retested and he could. He definitely could have been. Like the original director, because I think everyone was like, he could have definitely done been on it. I think they recreated the whole set and he could have been on the door.
No, I thought I saw Mythbusters that they were
this was remade by the director himself or some shit. Like someone
James
who worked,
Cameron?
yeah, like someone who worked on the team redid it.
Did you know he's like the best director of all time? Honestly, he's Avatar.
Okay, but here's the thing: you say that, and there's this South
Predator.
Park thing. There's this South Park joke where he's like, his name is James Cameron.
I didn't watch South Park.
Oh, dude, I love South Park so much.
See, it's funny because you were more like Adult Swim, South Park, Family
Mom's
Guy.
like, don't watch Simpsons, Family Guy, King of the Hill, and I'm just sitting right like an inch away from the TV watching that, and then I sneak out in the middle of the night to watch like Adult Swim where Inuyasha's on, and I'm just like, yeah.
See, I was not that. It's funny because like. Literally the other day, someone was like, "You have a sister?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like,
"We don't talk about."
It was at the Christmas party. They're like, "I didn't know you had a sister. Like, why isn't she here?" I'm like, "She doesn't come to these types of things. Like, I don't think she would want to."
Yeah, I mean,
and we are.
The funny thing is, I did go to a Christmas party this last weekend though. At my old job.
Well, now I feel like a bitch.
Yeah, you should.
But we're like...
And it was at my old work that fired me, so...
They laid you off, honey.
Oh, yeah, laid me off, yeah. They said maybe you could come back one day, and now I'm starting at Amazon.
They couldn't afford you.
Yeah, they couldn't afford me. No.
But we are like the most polar opposite sisters.
Yeah.
We aren't those sisters that are like, we're like best friends and like fight over the same guy and share clothes. We're like so opposite.
No. We've only fought over the same guy when you were like actively flirting with like my guy friends, I think.
Yeah.
That was about it, because I always had the friends that were, I had more guy friends than girlfriends.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, thanks for bringing home my next boyfriend.
Picked him out for me, thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, as you guys have heard in my podcast before, my trauma response was getting attention through male affection, the male gaze. I don't know. Why is the squirrel in?
They're fighting.
Ew, he's in. Okay.
Yeah,
he's in the coconut oil.
Yeah, you're going to have to. Well, number one, why is your coconut? Yeah. He's going in, dude. He's getting all greased up. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't leave like coconut oil unscrewed outside. I don't think Riley's going to be happy that a squirrel is eating coconut oil.
Squirrels are the only rats that I like. Oh,
Not what about my chihuahuas? You said you liked Iggy last time you came over and stole my food.
why do you think I said that?
So I'd feed you. She's a raccoon. Like, she'll come over to my house. She comes in and she's like, what do you have to eat? And like, she finds my unopened pickle chips, opens them, and she's like, you know, it'd be really good with these ranch. So she's getting my homemade ranch. And then she goes in my freezer and she's like, ice cream. Can I have this last one? And it's like, yeah, whatever. And meanwhile, it's like, we have like no money.
I felt like
just eating us.
If it makes you feel any better, I felt like shit after eating it. Not like I felt like shit from taking from you, because I don't. I feel like shit because it was just it's like a gut bomb. Junk.
Yeah. That's why I only eat a few. Like us. Well, here's the thing. I used to love pickle chips. I can't eat a ton of them anymore. Like, they erode my mouth with the vinegariness. Yeah, they acidic. I mean, you know us. We're pickle girls. We love it.
Oh, speaking of pickles.
Oh yeah, I finished my drink, so now you gotta get me.
A shot of Fireball and
So I just do the Fireball and then chase it, right?
Yep, chase it with the pickle juice. Cool. If you guys, I don't drink anymore, but if you do ever drink Fireball, try chasing it with pickle juice. That is such a fun little thing. Yeah. Sorry. Don't let that come out your nose. Oh God, look at you taking that like a champ. Okay, what do you think of the pickle juice? Honest reaction.
It's not as good. This pickle juice,
yeah,
it's a little sweet.
It's
like I chased it with sweet pickle juice. Yeah. I need to be a little bit more acidic.
You need like the like very dill.
Yeah, I need
like
the dill forward. But no, I always take big shots. We got this whiskey Ludan or whatever. If you've watched Parks and Rec, you'll know it because Ron Swanson loves it. It tastes like a tire on fire. I'm not kidding.
Like disgusting?
It's the worst thing I've ever tasted.
Why do you
drink it? But I'm a man. So like AJ brought it over.
Are you telling me something?
No, my tits are too big to be actually a man.
Is this your coming out podcast?
Yeah, this is me coming out on your podcast. Oh. No. I have more chest hair than the boys, I'm going to say. So,
let's see it.
No, this is all metaphorical. So like AJ brought it over to share with our friend Shenanigans because they were both whiskey enjoyers. They couldn't even finish their thing. And I was like, here, give it. And I was just like, pussies. Pussy. You know how you can do that tasting of the vodka place in Leavenworth? Uh-huh. The first time I went, I didn't know you were supposed to save a little bit for the drink. So I just shot the whole vodka.
You're supposed to save it?
Yeah, because they do little mixed drinks for you.
I had no idea. I shot it too.
Yeah.
The pickle one?
Yeah.
And the lavender?
If you leave the pickle one, they'll make you a little Bloody Mary.
That is the best.
Yeah, it is. I taste pickles on my lips.
Okay, so how much do you drink?
Oh, not a lot at all. I mean, I drank some at the Christmas party I went to, and then obviously right now, but I'm more of a social drinker, if anything.
Yeah.
Or if I see something really fruity and I want to try it. Because with me, with alcohol, I have to not be able to taste it. Like, I tried the beer AJ's dad made, and it was good because it didn't taste as hoppy as beer usually does. Mm-hmm. But I'm still just like, if this was hard cider, it'd be better.
I love cider.
Oh, yeah, hard cider's the best.
Well, I had to quit drinking.
I know.
Because, see, I don't like to put it under, like, that I was an alcoholic, because I really didn't feel like an alcoholic, but it was hard for me to quit because of the social aspect of it, because I was more of a social drinker.
Don't be social.
I know. Well, but then also, like, I would hear sober is boring, and I don't even know what sober people do for fun. Like, I could never be sober, and I'm like, yeah, me neither. Meanwhile, I'm like, I feel like shit.
It's called talking with each other and having bonds.
I know. I'm like
weird.
Well, I felt like shit. I was having anxiety. I hated the feeling of being hungover. And then also I feel like I would get into these cycles like over the summer. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to let loose. And I'm going to we were living in our trailer, camping on our friends' properties. And I'm like, what else is there to do besides loosen up a little bit? And then after I went to Palm Beach and was barfing in first class, I'm like, okay. Ew. That's the sign that I needed.
It's the worst to get sick on an airplane, though, too, because the bathrooms are like a little coffin.
Being hungover / mildly drunk still on a flight is the absolute worst. I would only drink socially, really.
Yeah.
Okay, when Riley was sick, that's when I probably could look like an alcoholic because I was so stressed out.
Well, you have 2 kids. Your husband's in the hospital.
No, I didn't have any kids at that point.
The first time? I thought you meant the second time he was in the hospital.
No,
recently.
there was other drama at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And
your issue was you connect with too many people. You should have like one friend.
I mean, it might start
You
dwindling
should have
down.
one friend, and then if people care about you, you're like, why?
Well, can you be my one friend?
No, I'm AJ's one friend. Sorry.
I already have one friend. Find someone else.
Yeah, I have one guy friend and one girlfriend at any time, and AJ's been my one guy friend for 12 years.
I guess mine's going to be Riley.
Yeah.
Or Dad.
And your girlfriend can be Addie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You pretty
That
girl.
means, yes.
So?
Going back to the alcohol thing, I mean, obviously our dad struggled with it. And then on mom's side of the family, there was a lot of alcoholism there. But I always thought like, oh, it's not going to be me. But again, see, I don't want to classify myself as an alcoholic because I don't feel like I was the classic.
Well, I think we approached it different ways because when you have a parent who suffers from addiction, you always hear like it's easier for you to get addicted and stuff like that. So I tried to make like a conscious decision to not do anything. Like for the longest time, you remember, I was like, no alcohol, no,
she had her first sip.
literally. I was like, I'm not drinking till I'm 21. And then I went to AFK Tavern and had video game drinks for a birthday party. But I was like, no smoking, no alcohol, no
two-shoes,
pot, whatever. And it took me a long time because I don't know if you knew this, but I would also like not want my partner to do that at all.
I know.
Yeah, so it was
She broke
hard.
up with a guy because he smoked pot with my dad once.
In front of me, and it was really awkward. Okay. Also, he was like his mouth was really hot when we kissed. Like not like hot, like hot, like overly
like,
warm and weird for me.
What?
I just never. It was years ago, okay, but I just
His mouth was hot.
It wasn't hot.
And it smelled like weed.
Yeah,
And
probably.
it tasted like marijuana.
Yeah, and for the longest time, like the smell also actually gave me headaches.
Oh yeah,
too.
I remember when we went to the Tool concert and you had to leave early because the smell just irritated you.
Yeah, well, and also my arm pulled weird or something. Like the whole night at that Tool concert, I had trouble sleeping, but that's whatever. Now that I vape, it'd be easier to enjoy Tool, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my fear response to seeing like mom and dad, because mom had a cigarette addiction until she coughed up blood, is what I'm gonna say. Mm-hmm. So did dad, but he was addicted to pretty much everything. Is that like it was fear? Like I was like, I don't want anyone close to me to do that because I don't want them to turn out like dad, because I have a fear of men being angry. Mm-hmm. And so anything that could make a guy out of control, I didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So obviously I've done a lot of healing. We did a shot just then, and now I smoke weed. I'm still not going to do cigarettes, though, because I like my lungs. I remember when they brought, like, in, like, in elementary school when they bring us, this is what your lungs look like after cigarettes. And I was like, no, thank you.
Like, that scared me.
You're like, no, thank you.
You were part of the DARE program.
Yeah, no, not that far. I did have a big buddy, though.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a big buddy.
She was a troubled child.
I was a bad girl.
Okay, so it was interesting because you were like a troubled child in elementary school.
Yeah.
But then the roles reversed and I was a troubled child in middle school.
Yeah. It's because mom sent me to a private middle school.
She probably should have sent me to a private middle school
Yeah,
too.
well, but if we were both at the same one, it would have been like...
We probably would have fought.
Yeah.
But that's middle school is when I went crazy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I went the other way and I was like, oh, well, this is what's been modeled to me and this is the only way to deal with your problems. So I remember like just thinking it was fun and, you know, having
it makes me feel good.
Having my first alcohol and like your weed and how you just kind of care less. And, you know, as a kid who you kind of feel like you're really under the thumb of your parents. And I think we had more of was it authoritarian or authoritative parent?
Mom tried to be authoritarian, but she had no actual will or power to do the follow-up. Like, that's how I remember my high school, because literally all the time, I would just be literally going to my friend's house, not even tell mom where I was, and she didn't ask half the time either.
I think at that point...
She just trusted me to not be bad, I guess. She was too worried about you. Meanwhile, I'm, like, leaving school to go to SoccerCon.
You did?
Yeah. I remember I was waiting for my friends to pick me up, standing outside the school, and the security guard almost got me. Like, being like, aren't you supposed to be in class? And I was like, oh god.
No,
and then they picked me up. Yeah, and they picked me up right at the right moment. And then we went to SoccerCon, hung out for like however many hours, whatever. And then our car broke down in Seattle. So me and Kieran sat in the back seat while Josh and Dave went and got gas in Seattle.
No.
They had to go walk. Oh man, I've done some interesting stuff. One time we walked all the way from Totem to Regal.
Dang, that's miles.
To go watch the new Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
We stopped for a Slurpee on the way.
Did you ever have mom drop you off at the movies and then you leave and go do something else?
No, I never did that because I actually wanted to see movies, unlike some people. I will never forgive you. We were watching Hellboy and you're like, I want to leave, and you called whoever to pick us up and I didn't get to finish the movie.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, I do.
Yeah, I would. That was my thing I would do. I'd be like, Mom, I want to go to the movies. And so she would drop me off, and I knew that I had like 2 hours. She would drop me off, and then I would go, I would be with a friend of some sort. I don't even know who. Yeah. Who my troublemaker friends were. Whoever's parents.
Whoever's parents also weren't watching their kids.
And we would go have somebody do a beer run. I never did it. I was too afraid to go do the beer run at Fred Meyer. But then we would go to a Mother Nature's window, just right back behind the movie theater, a few blocks back, and we would go get smoke or drink as much as we could in the forest. And my mom at that time, she had like a deviated septum or something where she couldn't smell. So we would come back and be like...
reeking.
Yeah, we would be so bad. And she seemed as though she didn't know. So...
Yeah.
But I remember the one time I did ecstasy. My pupils were huge, and I remember Bianca was at our house, and you could tell that she knew, and I was just like, I just went in my room and was like,
meanwhile, I'm like sitting on my twin size bed at the time because you had the queen size mattress, and I kept the twin size bed from the bunk bed.
I had it in one of the things that really pisses me off
that we had to share a small room as 2 adults.
We had to share
a small room.
And Mom
got to keep the big room.
So the house that we grew up in had 3 bedrooms originally, and then my parents busted down a wall between 2 of the bedrooms and made it one massive bedroom and one tiny ass bedroom. So my mom had this massive ass bedroom, and me and my sister were crowded in this fucking tiny little bedroom. Are you guys having sex? What?
You would knock on the door when me and AJ were hanging out, and she's like, are you guys having sex in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't. I made him wait 2 years.
You did?
Yeah.
I made Riley wait until he asked me to be his girlfriend.
Ooh.
And that was so I learned how to be a player, I think. I really was. And like when I was microdosing a little bit, I had a dream about one of my exes, and I was like, oh fuck, like I was a player, like I played him, and I didn't like have that realization until then. Yeah. So then I remember telling Riley, I was like, I need to apologize to him. So I did, but looking back in retrospect, I was such a player. Like I knew how to play the game, and I think that's because my heart was broken, and so I internalized that and then started breaking hearts to be like, now you know how I feel, which is not right whatsoever by any means. It's just part of my unperfect story. But I want to write a book about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even gonna say write me in a good light because I know some of the stuff we did to each other.
Allie one time hit me with a golf club.
Oh, look, it's Dad.
No way.
He's wandering.
Oh, no way. Wait. He's going to walk in. Allie's such a recluse that when she shows up, my dad is like,
it's like seeing a cryptid. It's like seeing Sasquatch. Like,
yeah, for me, it's just like, what do you want?
Yeah, well, no, she gets the what do you want after she's called me multiple times without texting. And usually I answer and it's like, what do you want? And it's like, no, I did this thing today, and it's never important. And I'm like, girl, I'm at work.
See, I'm more of a caller than a texter.
Yeah.
I'm like a boomer when it comes to that. Like, I would rather call you and just be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm a terrible responder at text. Everybody who knows me knows that. It's just hard for me to sit down and move my thumbs. But I think a lot of that is because I work on social media. So like I have to be like moving my thumb so much.
You need to get a thumb support to help you.
A thumb support? Do they have that?
They have stuff for arthritis. Like I have a glove for drawing. It's like a copper wire one, and it helps because since I draw, I get a lot of wrist and hand issues. So you could look for support to help if you're starting to feel pain, especially.
No, I don't feel pain. I'm just lazy.
Well, I mean, but you can.
Dad, you want to come say hi on the podcast? Hi. No, you got to come over here and get in the frame.
Hi.
Yeah.
We play charades.
Whether you were saved or not.
Dad wanted to know if you're saved. Allie's been baptized.
Yeah, I was baptized. Did I tell you why I got baptized though?
Oh.
They were doing it at the big church in Everett, and if you got baptized, they took you to Applebee's afterwards. So I got a free meal out of it, and then I was such a little shit because I was like, I also want a Mountain High mud pie, and the church was paying for it. That's how food obsessed I was when I was younger, though, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to eat next.
Okay,
I'll take advantage to every scrap.
So here's the food trauma in our life.
Yeah.
I like trauma.
Trauma.
T-rama.
T-rama.
It's not drama, it's trauma, which I guess is drama,
Yeah,
right?
Trauma. I don't know.
Your trauma's your drama.
Yeah.
So in our household growing up, I guess this is what our mom tells us, is that when we were growing up, she was like Betty Crocker when our parents were still together and made all these meals and hand-sewed dresses.
All I remember is fish sticks.
I don't remember that. I don't remember like her doing all of that, which she could.
I remember 3-day-old navy bean soup.
So my mom was notorious for this navy bean soup that she knew that we hated. Like we despised it, but she would make it. And then she would leave it in the crock pot on the counter for like 3 days and be like, there's food on the counter. There's food on the counter.
Like, it makes me cringe thinking about the thick, like overcooked film of the navy bean soup.
The consistency, I can taste it now. And so Allie would eat fish sticks a lot. I remember on Fridays I would have a Stouffer's mac and cheese and
we
fish
would both
food.
have one. We'd fight over the Stouffer's mac and cheeses. We both wanted a Stouffer's mac and cheese. You would get fish food, and then I would get whatever flavor of the month I wanted for ice cream.
How old are you?
Probably middle school, right?
Middle school?
Yeah, because elementary school, Grandma and Grandpa watched us more, so we got more regular meals because they would feed us. But once middle school hit, I think we just got older and we didn't want to be watched by our grandparents or something.
We want freedom.
Yeah, we want freedom.
And so we would be at home, but then my mom would work nights, so we'd be left home alone a lot.
How old were you?
12 to 14.
Yeah, but
Starting at like 12, that's when I went crazy.
yeah.
Too much freedom, I think. The thing we would do when we were hungry is we'd make sheet cake. We would just eat cake.
Why do we have so much cake? We were the ingredient household. We had everything to bake stuff.
I know.
Like,
we're like,
you know, like those TikToks you see where it's like ingredient household, and it was the literal ramen. Remember, we used to put it in the microwave and put
ramen
this
cookies.
Yes.
What?
I think Jean showed us that, the ramen cookies, because we didn't want to make it, so we broke up the top ramen, put the sprinklings on it, and then just ate it like wild animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we ate a lot of baked goods when we were younger, which was mostly eating the batter.
But that was the only thing we knew how to make, is the brownies and the sheet cake.
Remember when I got in trouble because I bit into a whole block of cheddar cheese and she put me in the corner?
No.
I was like, I'm hungry, so I just went, oh, delicious.
You're not even going to ask for her to cut it. You're going to be like, I'm hungry.
I don't want to use a knife.
Yeah.
My teeth is good.
No, I mean, I remember, okay, one thing I do remember that mom made that I really like, green bean casserole.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then I also really liked
her cabbage and sausage thing
that was good.
Yeah.
Oh, those rolls. Those were good. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then when she would make a steak, broccoli, and then cottage cheese.
Or when she would bring home Albertsons fried chicken and we'd have cottage cheese on the side. That was, I remember that too.
See, those were good.
Those were good.
So, see, it's
not consistent.
It's not consistent, but it's not all horrible. It's not like we were completely starved.
Yeah. I remember us getting lunch in elementary school, like going into the lunchroom.
Those rectangle pizza slices.
Yeah,
that
but
taste
in
like
middle
cardboard.
school, since I was in private school, sometimes she would take me to Albertsons to get like a thing before school. But then, yeah, once high school hit, I was on my own. I would sometimes I'd go to the student store and get like an Arizona and chips, but mostly AJ would be feeding me off his school lunch, so he wouldn't be eating.
Okay, I got money when I was 15. So that was my sophomore year because I started working. So at that point, as soon as I started working, it was like, you're paying your own phone bill, car insurance, like you're doing all the things. So I would have like $20 for lunch. And I remember being like, I'll buy a cookie and a cup of noodle.
Yeah.
The Otis cookies though,
They slap, man.
they do.
I was just Arizona. Get that watermelon Arizona. Love it.
But also, and I think
I also was mostly playing in high school. I was mostly playing Magic the Gathering during lunch. So
naughty
nerds.
But I think another thing is our parents, mom specifically, because I feel like dad didn't care. Dad would
give us money. That's why we had money.
That's true. But dad, I remember him teaching us how to like make mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And then getting mad if we did it wrong.
Yeah. You yelled at me one time for making spaghetti wrong. But do you remember how dad would make his mashed potatoes? He put mayo in them.
Oh, yeah. You made really good mashed potatoes.
I improved on your recipe to make my mashed potatoes.
Can you just do that again for us, please?
No. Dad wants my mashed potatoes. You had them at the Christmas party. They were good.
Yeah. So I think the
one thing I can cook is mashed potatoes.
But I think a lot of like mom's culture, I think mom's generation everybody was a yo-yo dieter. Everybody was into I remember there being so many diet books and Nexanon patches. Yeah, there was always our childhood surrounded a lot about weight loss. And so that for me especially, it put me in kind of like moving from like 18 to like 25.
Yeah.
I was always kind of doing the yo-yo thing because that's all I knew. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to intuitively eat. I'm going to try this. And it works so much better for me. But it's hard. Like, I think people discount the learned beliefs that we have in childhood. Like the things that we see are the things that we think that is the world. The things we see are the things we do. So that's why I drank so much.
Dad. That's why I speed to 100 on the freeway. Yeah, alcoholic.
Oh, Dad, we need to get a third mic on here and get you. I want you to come on the podcast one day.
She just got me on, so now it's your turn. He is on it right now in the sideline.
He's our commentator.
Yeah, commentator.
Funny fact about my mom. In all of the pictures that we have growing up where it was like a family group photo, she'd always be like this.
So we were, you know how we were just at Grandpa and Grandma's to talk to them and get Christmas stuff? I saw that photo, like the one in the back, you know, the good one of mom and dad with the mustache and her eyes are like,
yeah, her eyes were always closed.
I want to inherit that photo when they pass away.
You know what we should do? You know what we should do for her for Christmas? Yeah. Oh, dang, if we would have planned this before. Every picture we could find of her with her eyes closed, we should have got like cardboard cutouts.
She would literally kill us.
I know.
They're waiting in her room when you pick her up on Christmas.
The reaction would have been so funny.
You could just do paper cutouts of them too.
Maybe I do think
there's time.
I think I like attention because I really like seeing.
Do you like fighting with mom?
No. I like seeing the reaction that people. Yeah. I like doing like reactive type things to see how people will react. Like yesterday, I walked out.
I like starting shit.
Yesterday, I walked over to Dad's looking like this to see what he would do.
Yeah. I was wondering why that wig is out.
That was the thing last night. Like we had some friends over and my friend was like, oh, this wig, she had pointed it out. And then I was like, oh, I need to change my clothes a little bit. So they all go and sit on the couch and I walk out in this like Amish looking dress, these rectangle retro glasses and a full-blown wig, and I just go out and just sit
looking
down
like your Mima.
I just go out, sit down and like start talking and they're like, what are you wearing? I'm like, what do you mean?
It's my slumber clothes.
And then I was like, oh, I got it. Riley was like, you look like your aunt. And I was like, I gotta go show Dad.
Dad, like it's pitch black, you're knocking outside his door and then he honestly
never knows what he's gonna get when I come knock. Especially after
that's why we lock our door at home so she can't just burst in, you know? Yeah.
Especially at night, like when he shuts the blinds. Because if the blinds are open, he can see me coming and I can't see in and see him. So like sometimes he'll see me walk up to his trailer and I'm like squinting, like, is he in there? And then he'll just laugh and open the door. But then when the blinds are shut, I'm like, game on. And I knock. And sometimes I'll bring him food. Sometimes I'll show up in a wig. Sometimes I'll...
You never know what you're going to get. Could be a trick or a treat. It's Halloween every day.
Literally. I'm like, trick or treat. And then the kids show up and they steal all of his candy.
He doesn't need it. You don't need candy.
He's like, yes.
Oh gosh, I'm hot. Oh.
Isn't this so fun?
Isn't this so fun?
I remember one time when I got my license, I picked Allie up from school and she went to like the alternative high school.
Arts and tech.
And I rolled all my windows down on my cute little Volkswagen GTI, which I thought was just the coolest car ever.
The startup of that car was horrible.
No, that was my Tercel.
Oh, okay.
The GTI was what I upgraded to.
Oh, okay.
And that car, I thought it was the coolest thing ever, which it was. It was like turboed. It was fast. It was like a cool, like electric blue. I go to pick Allie up from school and I have my windows rolled down and I'm blasting Barbie Girl.
Oh, yeah.
As loud as I possibly can. And she's just like, oh my God. She was so embarrassed.
Dressed in all black, you know. I'm coming out looking like a goth and you're just blasting Barbie Girl.
And
Yeah.
a Barbie Girl. In a Barbie world. Oh, those were such great memories. Here's the thing about Allie and I. When we were younger, like living in the same house together, growing up, it almost felt like we weren't allowed to be friends. It was like we would butt heads and we would literally fist fight. Like Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One time she knocked me into, you know, that little hope chest that mom used to have in the middle of the living room. She knocked me into it. My scalp was bleeding and grandma had to come over with her old body and break us up because we called mom and she's like, I can't do anything about it right now.
You left out the part where you came at me swinging with a golf club.
No, that was when you threw a ball at me. I was laying on mom's bed. You had friends over and for some reason you were like, let's fuck with Allie. Threw a ball at me. That pissed me off. So I went and got a golf club to swing at you.
We didn't know how to properly express our emotions. Yeah. We weren't taught that.
Wait, you mean that violently assaulting someone isn't properly expressing your emotions?
I would not recommend this. I would honestly recommend learning how to breathe and regulate your nervous system.
Yeah, don't learn from us.
No, I think now that it's over and like we can get along. I don't even know if we'd be friends if we weren't sisters.
Yeah, you definitely hang out with me. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think I would.
Yeah, for the different worldview perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd hang out with you for Addie.
You're like, I met this girl way back in the day and she had a dog.
She's a great dog.
Good girl. Good girl.
She's a good girl.
But yeah, don't learn from us on that. But it is proof.
Don't hit your siblings with golf clubs.
It is proof that you can be friends later in life, even if you had a tumultuous childhood where you didn't really get along. I mean, we did. I think where we did get along is we would play like video games together.
Yeah.
Like Kirby Air Ride, Guitar Hero.
We'd play Kirby Air Ride, and you'd get really mad if you got stuck with the ancient weapon that was like the car because like you could only charge to move it. And then we'd also play Animal Crossing, which was fine and all, but you started doing cheats, so there'd be weeds all over our town because you'd be traveling in time. And I'm like, ugh.
Oh, great.
And like my villagers would move out because they were mad because we didn't talk to them because you'd been time traveling. And I was like, ah!
Grand Theft Auto, I would do cheats on all the time.
Flying monster truck cheat. Or like the cop cars just racing past you in the air because all the cars were flying. We did not play Grand Theft Auto as we were supposed to. We just messed around like 100%.
We were like, oh, let's just drive around town.
Yeah.
we were like, we weren't doing it in the way that people do it. I can't believe that game's even...
6 is coming out in 2024, I guess, or something.
Another one that was the best, Guitar Hero, with the actual Wii thing where you could play.
Yeah.
That was, honestly, I want that game back. Like, if Guitar Hero, if you hear this, can you please...
Send me Guitar Hero.
Please send me Guitar Hero where I could play it on the actual game console that looks like a guitar.
This is bad, but I ended up liking Rock Band more. I could sing on Rock Band. Yes. So I would always be singing Coheed and Cambria, Welcome Home. But remember, we used to have that game for the PS2, SingStar, and it would have Black Horse and a Cherry Tree and stuff on it. So, yeah.
We also played Mario Kart. and Sonic.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of games from Blockbuster when we had it.
Blockbuster. We had
We
had a Blockbuster right across the freeway from us.
Yeah.
We would go to Albertsons and go get fried chicken and walk around. Oh, we'd always walk into the bakery and be like, "Can I have a cookie?"
Yeah, little. Can I please have a cookie, ma'am?
Did you say it in a British accent?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
But that's what we were like, little street urchins.
I know. In the same
Nobody was
parking lot.
watching us, Dad.
Yeah, where were you?
Yeah, where were you when we were looking at the crabs in Albertsons?
I hope you don't feel like we're trying to shame you.
No.
No.
If you want, we can bully each other. Just like the good old days.
You want us to fight?
Yeah.
Would you rather us fight? I have a few golf clubs in the.
See, that's worse because now you actually golf. I don't know why we had those ancient golf clubs.
I know.
Like, that was an
I think.
ancient
I
set.
think. Yeah, and they were all rusty, and I think it was just more the idea. But also, Mom was a serious hoarder, and I'm sorry, Mom, if you're listening to this, you were. You had meat in your freezer from 1998 in 2008, like 10-year-old expired meat. Remember when we did the whole clean out? We were like, let's clean everything out. And she was like mad.
I could see why she was mad when we did the clean out of her closet, though. Remember when she came home and we were doing a garage sale of her shit? Me as an adult now, if I walked into that, I would be fuming.
Okay,
fuming. We're just selling her clothes. They're like, how much? And we're just like, I don't know. Selling her records and stuff.
We also sold Dad's surfboard.
Oh, yeah. Well, he wasn't using it anymore.
No, he was pissed when he found out we sold it.
Oh, yeah. You don't use it.
And we sold it for like $20.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a perfectly good surfboard.
Yeah. Remember when we did lemonade stands and stuff on her?
Yeah, we just were like...
Anything to make that extra money. Let's go.
We needed some cash money, honey.
Yeah, we need some cash income.
Yeah, we were broke children.
Well, I needed it for Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Because what would happen is we'd go to Totem, and I'd hit that Taco Bell right by Totem, and then on Friday, that's when Friday Night Magic was at Who's on First, that corner card shop. So we'd get the Taco Bell, walk over there, I'd spend all the rest of my money on like $30 fat packs of Magic cards, and we'd play Magic all Friday night. That's where all my money went in high school, was to Magic cards.
Yeah. Did you ever ride the community transit bus?
Oh, no.
I rode that all the time. Why
No, I was scared of it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like doing stuff alone. But you know that. You don't like doing stuff. Like,
I did take the bus alone to Seattle once.
See, I would die. I'm so anxious. Like, even going over to my friend's house, like, if I got on their bus and the bus driver said anything, I'd be like, you know. I swear I have permission. I swear my mom doesn't care about where I am.
I think that our parents were just, well, I guess you were preoccupied with whatever I don't know what you were doing.
Dad things.
I think Mom was at the point where she was like, okay, she was overwhelmed being a single parent. I mean, when Riley's gone for 3 days, I'm like, I don't know how single parents do this. I have such a greater appreciation for single parents. But I think she was at the point where she was like, you guys are old enough to figure it out for yourself a little bit. So I will give you this. And then when it becomes a problem, that's when I'm going to intervene. Yeah. But I definitely was like, you give me an inch, I'm going to take 6 miles.
I didn't take that much, but unfortunately, since you did take 6 miles, I like had to be the more down low one because comparatively, Allie just going over to her friend's house and forgetting to tell me isn't as bad as Lexi just being gone, you know?
I tried to sneak out one time and I got caught that one time. You remember that?
I remember the one time I ever tried sneaking out and we went and TP'd that playground. But
Dad's like shocked.
We were like young.
We were like children.
But I remember I had such a hard time sneaking out the window.
We had so many good
many good positive memories.
So many like rebellious memories.
Yeah.
I think
good thing we mellowed out.
Well, I think it was interesting because we both handled our drama differently. Like you internalized everything and I was like
externalized
I externalized it and I was like I literally went crazy. Yeah. Which I feel like makes a really good story, I guess. Like the other day, I did this unpopular opinion podcast. Yeah. One of the unpopular opinions said prisoners get better perks than regular citizens. Like they get free room and board. And I'm like, well, when I went to jail when I was 16 for a night, they did have good biscuits and gravy. But it's funny because like, instead of making that like a shameful experience, which it was for many years, like I didn't talk about it for like 5 years at least. But then I can now look at it and be like, well, I've tried everything once. Well, not everything, but you know, I've tried a lot of things. And I think that's how I personally needed to learn because I'm such a rebellious spirit.
You don't know how many times I've been to jail.
How many times have you been to jail, Dad? How many times did you stay in the jail that you built?
You should have made yourself an escape plan.
That would have been smart. Did you like jail?
No.
Yeah, because he missed Christmas. I remember buying him like this little watch one time, and he couldn't get it because he was in jail.
Dad, can we tell you about a traumatic memory we have?
He said no.
It was just that one time you went to jail.
He went to jail more than one time.
Well, on Christmas.
I don't remember that on Christmas.
When Stacy showed up, when Dad and Stacy were supposed to show up, and you were like really late, and we're like, okay, what the heck? And we were at Grandma and Grandpa's, and then she knocked. We're like, Dad's here, and then she was like, hey, your dad's in jail, and we're like, what? And I remember being mad at her, like, why'd you put him in jail on Christmas?
Why?
But that was water under the bridge.
See, I don't remember that as well, but that's why there's two of us because we both remember different stuff.
Okay, here's a question. What's your first memory?
My first memory? Mm-hmm. The one that always pops up is me being a little kid and being put in the snow, and the snow is much taller than me.
And you're like, this is terrifying. Yeah. Mine was when I had asked Mom if we could go next door to Grandma's or something, and then I evidently didn't go to Grandma's. I don't remember walking across the street, and we lived on this like busy street. I walked across the street. My first memory though is when I got spanked because I wandered across
yeah,
the
because
street.
weren't you across the street with Scout though? Our golden retriever.
Yeah, another thing I did was like leave a bar of soap on my grandparents' back porch. Like, where did
you, a fairy?
where did I get the soap?
Twiddly-doo.
Why did I leave it there? Why was I going across the street?
It's a threat.
Literally. I was like, watch out. I'm going to wash
your mouth.
I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap.
Grandma, you can't wash my mouth. I'll wash your mouth.
But they did. I appreciate our grandparents a lot because out of all the turmoil and shit that we had in our childhood, they gave us a pretty consistent childhood.
Yeah.
Like, they had dinner for
Value
us.
Village deals. Let's go.
They had dinner for us every night. Every night we played board games. My grandma would...
I don't care what Grandma says about me being a sore loser. She antagonized me.
She did.
Especially during Aggravation. And yes, I know the name of the game is Aggravation, and that's the whole point, to be aggravated.
No.
Grandma was so, like, proud of herself when she was beating literal children, by the way, at games like Monopoly and Skippo. Like, I don't know how to, like...
And Uno.
And Uno.
No, she found joy in it. But she told us the other day, she was like, well, how else are you going to learn to lose in life? And I'm like... Valid.
Yeah,
it
pick
is
someone
valid.
Weaker than you and teach them a lesson.
No, it is valid because she's like, if I just let you win, how are you gonna learn to lose in the real world? And I'm like, okay, that's true. Like it's like
rematch Skippo now, Grandma.
She would not hold back.
Oh,
she would set out to win, and she would set out to beat us. And if you've ever played Aggravation, like you roll a dice and then you have these little marbles that you take across the board, and then if you land on the other one, then they have to start over. And she would be like.
Yeah.
On ours, we'd be like,
yeah, because the end goal is to get all of your marbles in this like colored line that you have, but you have to cross the board first. But yeah, when she made you restart, I remember being steamed over Aggravation.
And then
I want to find the game actually.
I know. She'd be like, I love it. She's like, well, and that's just her thing. Well.
At least she gave us popcorn while we were doing it.
And popcorn. And then we'd watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy every night. And then she would always read us a Bible story.
No, not always. We did Chronicles of Narnia. You don't remember Chronicles of Narnia?
No.
Oh.
But I remember if we were up talking too much, she would get on the intercom in the house and be like, you guys need to go to sleep.
And then the classical music to go to sleep to.
Yeah. So I feel like all things considering, we had a decent.
How did you end up with the biggest bedroom?
That's what I wonder. My grandparents had this like massive house that they built that they raised
Like,
all
you know
5
how
of their.
upstairs there was the big bedroom and the little side one? I was in the little side one, the older person.
I was in the massive one, but that one was kind of scary though because it had like
Good.
access. It had
like the attic.
it
Yeah.
had attic access. I remember I would never go in there, but I remember
I'd go in there.
every night I would be in bed and then I would get up and go look out the window because my grandparents lived right next door to our childhood home. So
to
I'd
see
look
if
out the
Mom was
window and see if our mom came home because she would work nights. She was in an MLM and did like foot soaking parties.
Do you remember what your first big gift was? You got the trampoline and I got the Game Boy Advance.
No.
Mom had gotten a bonus from Alouette or something, and she's like, you can get one gift, so you wanted a trampoline.
And that's where.
Yeah. So you got your trampoline, and then I got the Game Boy Advance. And then my first game that I got for myself was Pokemon Ruby, which, ooh, so good.
Speaking of trampoline.
Even Grace broke her arm.
Yeah, but speaking of, okay, this is where the train of thought went. Trampoline, Grace broke her arm. I broke my arm. I broke my left arm 3 times. Isn't that wild? 3 times I broke my left arm, and then I broke my left foot. I only break my left. It's weird. But I remember one of the times I broke my arm, my sister, who, again, when we were younger, we like absolutely despised each other. She wrote me this card that said, "Please don't die." She drew me this whole picture. "Please don't die."
Hey.
And I was like, she loves me deep down, and I will never forget that. I wish I still had it.
The time that I remember you breaking your arm the most is when you climbed on that flimsy garden trellis, you know, the crisscross ones, and you just went like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's when I remember. We were outside, you climbed on the garden trellis and just... Also, the other time I remember, besides you breaking your arm, was the one time that Alia stepped on that hornet's nest, and she got all stung up, and I was really worried about her, too.
Yeah, we were playing hide and go seek, and then her hiding spot was on top of an underground hornet's nest, and she got stung
a log or something.
over 100 times.
Yeah.
It was so sad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I get chills thinking about that.
I've never been stung by bees, and I've never broken my arms or legs.
You need to knock on wood because Riley said I've never broken a bone, and then literally 2 months later he snapped his tib
I've been saying
and
it for
then had
years,
to have surgery.
man.
Keep knocking.
Yeah, okay. Oh, remember? Well, you're like accident prone because didn't you fall down when you were pregnant with Eli?
Yeah, and I broke my left foot.
Yeah.
At 37 weeks pregnant, I broke my left foot.
She's like, the first birth wasn't hard enough. I need to give myself a difficulty.
To her point, today, I told Riley that I'm taking my nieces ice skating tomorrow. He's like, "Are you going to ice skate?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "Are you going to like put skates on and skate?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Okay, because I was going to say you need to be careful." And I'm like, "What do you think? I'm clumsy?" He's like, "Well,
I'm clumsy."
He's like, "Well, we can't have 2 people that are injured because he has this bad bum ankle."
Okay, but that's the thing. Every year I slip and fall on my ass when the ice comes, and AJ's like, because I have those Ugg slip-ons. Ooh, they have no traction. I've slipped in those so many times. I remember one time AJ and I was supposed to go to work, but I was dropping AJ off at his work first. I could not put pressure down to drive. I had twisted my ankle that bad. I had to call Mom from her house to bring me to work. But I've never broken it. I've just twisted it real bad. I usually fall on my ass, which has a lot of cushion though, so.
Oh my gosh. I feel like this was a really fun podcast episode.
Yeah.
Like we really just went down memory lane, and I'm sure we could do a part 2 of you get to know me and my sister.
The cryptid that is my sister.
The one that you guys didn't know about until today. Surprise! It's a girl.
Am I?
Well, I know. I kind of thought that she was coming out as a man
No.
earlier. She
No.
said that she's the man. This is very
I'm too
unperfect.
crass.
But see, that's why I like the theme of the unperfect because even when I talked about the human shit earlier,
Yeah.
like it's just. Yeah, some of you are going to listen to this and think it's absolutely disgusting, but I don't know. It's just something possessed me as a child.
I don't believe that everyone has had a perfect experience in their life where like you would never like being able to talk about the embarrassing stuff and having a laugh just shows that you've gone over it. If you're still embarrassed or reflected like over stuff, you're just holding on to stuff that doesn't matter. Like who cares if when she was a kid she spread human shit on something? Is she still doing it? No, then who cares?
I've graduated to farting.
Yeah, now she and I'm glad I don't have that, Mike. Thank you.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm in the same room as you, dude. Don't blow it towards me. Gosh. Now Dad's covering his nose. Good thing I spray perfume on my sweatshirt.
I've honestly hit a fart kink.
No. Not a kink. Not a kink.
I'm not even kidding you.
Please.
Dad.
Do you remember when you and Riley were dating early on before you got married, and you're like, we smell each other's fart?
We have a fart battle. It's like a rap battle. But then he started getting upset because he got ulcerative colitis, had to lose his colon. He didn't poop out of his butthole for a year.
Yeah,
he had an ostomy bag. And so whenever I kept the battle going, and he was so mad about it. He was like, don't fart in front of me. I'm like, you're just jealous.
You're jealous of my healthy asshole.
You're jealous that I can and you can't. But now he can again.
He should have burped at you in retaliation.
Okay, but Riley's
You want to know the most romantic thing I do to AJ?
What?
I'll like look over at him. He's looking at me sweetly at night, and I just go right in his face.
Honestly,
and like the fans behind me. So it's like...
Ew, I would. Okay, this is going to be a really hot take. I would
Is it
rather
regarding
smell
farts again?
a fart than a burp.
Oh,
burps are like...
It depends on the burp. Because if it's a hot dog, I never want that burp in my face at all. Hot dog burps are the worst. But if it's like a soda burp, whatever.
Like a carbonated burp, that's different. Also,
but yeah, no, if it's like a wet, raunchy hot dog burp, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But that being said, hot dog farts are just as bad.
Okay, but that's the same thing with farts. Like some farts are like...
Some farts are delicate, cute little lady farts, and some farts are like
rancid.
You shit your pants.
No, but I did hit a fart kink on the internet. The first fart video I ever posted, I was like, oh, this is really funny. And I was like so nervous to post it. And then I had like people laughing and it was good reception. And then
someone's like, fart for me, girl.
No, and then I had people start DMing me and be like, how much would you sell a fart for? And I'm like,
wow. And then you're thinking the logistics. Do you mean like I've videotaped myself farting, or do you want me to fart in a sandwich bag and send it to you?
Oh, I was thinking I could fart in a mason jar.
Oh, see, yeah, no, I'd be like, here you go, slum. You get like a little sandwich bag. I'm not gonna spend a nice jar on you, scum.
Maybe I will quit my job and I'll make it only farts.
And eat a lot of beans.
I think it's dairy for me.
Oh.
It's only farts.
Oh, God.
Farts only.
You heard? No, and then on this podcast episode, you link your OnlyFans page.
Should I?
No.
Dad, would you disown me if I
He doesn't know what OnlyFans is.
If I sold farts on the internet? What if I sold my socks?
You would?
What if I sold my dirty socks?
Girl, there's this girl who sells like stuff like she sweeps up from the floor. Speaking of selling dirty stuff to creepy men on the internet, did you know in Japan
I had a woman reach out to me to ask for fart?
Hey, you know what? Slay. We love the ladies. Anyway, do you know in Japan they have a vending machine that dispenses dirty panties that you can just buy? Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay, some of y'all's kinks, I don't like, where does that come from?
I don't know. People are into some weird stuff, but for me, as long as there's a clean line between reality and
your dirty fantasies,
quite
literally dirty fantasies.
Well, and if you have a partner who's willing to like fart on you, whatever. But like the one thing, it's like where it gets too far is like if you have like
my dad's face.
Keep your fantasies to yourself or with a consenting partner. Do not go out into the world and just be creepy and
project
weird.
Your nasty, weird fantasies onto other people.
People have gotten way too comfortable on the internet, okay? Like they forget you're talking to another person. And I'm like, yeah, we're talking about farts and stuff like that, which it's a hard line because I don't think any of this is like stuff, ooh, you shouldn't talk about that.
Well, everybody farts.
You know? Yeah.
Everybody farts. It's God's humor.
Poops.
It's God's humor, don't you think? Why else? Why else would that?
Yeah, why would God make us fart if we weren't supposed to giggle at it?
You know what? Actually, guys, if I'm going to be honest with you, I got my gassiness from my dad.
That's true. Dude, I got my shits from him because I'll leave the bathroom and it smells like a construction worker was just in there. I like left the bathroom the other day and I was like, oh man, AJ was like this long and like, don't go in there.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I haven't looked to see.
Shit like an adult man who just woke up at like 5 a.m.
Literally. Like Riley is like, he will be like, that is foul. I'm like, it is literally my dad.
Like, how am I supposed to? I'm sorry that my poop doesn't smell like flowers.
It's genetic. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I feel like this, to some people, this may be the most disgusting content you ever consume, and you're
Good,
like,
that's why we saved it for the end of the episode.
and and you're like, why would you ever talk about this? But also, there are other beautiful women who have really dank toots and nasty poops. That's mine.
Oh, okay. But also, like, literally, get over yourself. Everybody poops. Yeah. Everybody, like, you know what sucks is that you feel shame about something that is naturally happening to your body. It's all natural. Who cares? Like, I remember the longest time I didn't want to fart in front of my boyfriend, so I'd be sitting there, like, with my guts going, you know, or like, you don't want to poop at your boyfriend's house or whatever, and it's just like, who cares? He probably shits worse than you do half the time, unless your dad's a construction worker, and then you inherit his poops.
That's what we did.
Yep.
Well, I'm so glad that I'm not the only one who feels like that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you talk about it alone on here, it's just kind of like, she's nasty.
They're like, now I know why she's your sister. It's the poop.
Yeah, she's nasty. Well, Allie, last question for you before we wrap this episode up. I think this was a really
informative. Listen to it with your whole family.
Yeah.
If they feel uncomfortable about pooping and farting.
if your whole family is really uncomfortable and doesn't like to talk about farts or poops, just play this episode at Christmas over dinner.
Because you know what? Everybody poops. As a little present.
Everybody poops. Here's a little for you. I already gave you guys one. But last question.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you want to leave on the world?
Oh.
What's the legacy that you would like to leave?
I think for me, I don't want to be like the most important in someone's life, but I do want to be like remembered fondly, like someone that you can like talk to and laugh with, you know?
Well, that's not going to happen. I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. I'm never coming on again.
That's what she said.
I'm never coming again.
That's what she said, literally.
Literally.
I'm just kidding. I do think that you are very easygoing, and I feel like even though you and I disagree on in general, like just our different views, but I feel like you and I have never had a conversation where it's like there's so much vitriol where we can't even talk.
That is, well, and that's the issue. Like, you can't talk with people anymore. You have to either support the side 100% or like you get canceled. And it doesn't matter what side. I'm not talking about a specific side, just so everyone knows, because the left cannibalizes itself as much as the right is awful, okay? Nobody's perfect because everyone sucks. Oh, be careful. Be careful.
Go take a nap.
Go. Oh! I think this is your best podcast episode yet. We almost had like a naked toddler on here. We've been talking about poops and farts.
Yeah, everything. The whole site is deconstructing. This is very unperfect. Just the end of this is really everything's becoming a dumpster fire.
You have to end every podcast in total chaos because it's like unperfect.
It is. Well, I'm so glad you came on.
Yeah, now, I'll try to come on again, maybe.
I would like that. I think you're.
You should get me and Jean and you on.
Yeah, I think you're a natural. I think you should start a podcast, honestly.
I've thought about doing like
live stream,
like D&D podcasts. I love D&D podcasts, but I'd have to have friends to do that.
You have friends. You got a friend.
No, but I've actually, besides like a D&D podcast, I've wanted to do like a podcast talking to people who work in the service industry and just getting the dirt that people have. I have so much dirt from U-Haul. Oh. And just like some of the crazy stories, and it's all the service industry, and it's just like really unwrapping like how people treat people when they think they're better than them because like someone's forced to be there and be nice to them.
Ooh, yeah, it's true. You are kind of forced to be nice,
girl. Like
let's do our next episode on that.
Okay, steal my podcast idea.
Okay.
That's literally gonna hurt someone's ears for sure.
Here's the send off.
That was weak. That was a weak one.
Do you have a better one?
No, because I don't force my farts because I don't want to shit myself.
Oh my gosh, the fart I did on last week's episode
was close. Were you crowning?
Well, no, it was. Because people, I had gone like 3 or 4 episodes without doing it, and people were like, "Hey, you're gonna lose your audience," and I'm like, "Oh no, the FOMO of like losing."
Like, I'm gonna lose my fart audience.
I am gonna lose my fart audience, and I have so many people that watch religiously just to get that one little Okay.
Well, good thing they're gonna get fed well for Christmas with this special holiday.
Merry Christmas and have
Happy
a happy
holidays.
New Year.
You gotta say happy holidays because Kwanzaa and Hanukkah exist too.
Happy holidays.
And whatever
Merry
other holidays.
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy Yule.
We'll see you in
Is it Happy Yule? Merry Yule?
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
The Yuletide's gay.
Yuletide's gay.
Mercury's in tartar sauce.
I love Mercury's and yeah.
You were the one who told me that.
Yeah.
I had to give credit to the author.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you in 2024. Let me know if you want Allie to be back on the podcast. And do not forget to subscribe. Leave a 5-star review and some nice, kind, loving words if you are on Apple Podcasts. We need this podcast to grow to the next level.
She's not even paying me. Don't give her shit.
Hey, I'm paying you in Christmas candy that you're going to help me make.
Oh, thank you, Master.
You're welcome, honey. All right.
Bye.
Bye.